The food here at Tatiana is a combination of Afro-Caribbean influence as well as food that you'll find throughout New York City. It takes people months, sometimes up to a year, to secure their reservation here at Tatiana. Lots of publications have named us #1 in the city as well as the country, which puts a lot of pressure on myself as well as the team. My goal as the chef de cuisine is to uphold the quality, the consistency, and the morale for the team. It has been such a roller coaster from day one, the accolades, the notoriety, the visibility, and I can't wait to see where else we go. Hi, I'm Kamat Newman, the chef de cuisine here at Tatiana. We've got quite a bit of work to do, so let's go on in. As you can see, we're at the heart of Lincoln Center. We've got the Met Opera as well as the ballet. We have guests that come in at 5 o'clock on the dot, so all the more critical for us to be on time and punctual with our production in the morning. It is 10 a.m. I've got a couple stocks that need to be tended to. We're heading down to the production kitchen where all of the heavy prep happens in the morning. We are going to check on our stocks this morning. They've been going for about 15 hours or so. We've got our oxtail stock as well as our 2 chicken stocks. We do let them go overnight. It just works better for efficiency of the kitchen and to ensure that these machines do not get turned off, because this has happened in the past. We have to put little notes, like this is the oxtail stock, don't touch it. Losing 66 quarts of stock is not a fun experience. So right now for the oxtail stock, I have to pull the meat out of it. We let it go at a bit of a lower temperature so that the meat doesn't completely fall off of the bones. We use it for our oxtail rangoon dish on the menu. This oxtail was marinated with our jerk paste and we gave it a hard sear in the oven. The stock itself, we use it to braise our oxtail with. We combine it with our chicken stock to make a really flavorful, really deeply colored oxtail braise. So this is our 30-gallon tilt skillet. Because of the restaurant's, I guess you could say, levels of business, we make everything in large batches here. When I'm ready to strain this out, I can just tilt it down and easy and efficient. Chicken stock, we have a couple of our team members right now cutting the vegetables, getting the aromatics prepared to throw in there. Then it's gonna go for another 2 or 3 hours. So these, I'm gonna take them to the blast chiller to cool them down. Corner. Sorry, chef. Thank you. We have to put the oxtail in the blast chiller so that it cools down in an appropriate amount of time to the proper temperatures. We don't want anything to go bad. All right, now that's done. Now it's time for me to check in with my team to check on the trajectory of the day and see what else needs to be handled. So far, we're looking at about 142 covers for this evening, and the books are closed. That means that anything extra will be walk-ins for the restaurant. We typically do between 230 up to 280 covers a night, all contingent upon the weather outside. But once we hit that cap for reservations, we know that it's game time. And now that I have this number and I know that the books are closed, I'm gonna communicate that to the rest of my chef team so that they know what the night ahead looks like. This is Pablo, our junior sous chef. At this time, we're gonna be checking our prep list. We do a new prep list every single day. This prep list was written by Chef Sam, one of our sous chefs, after service. So she filled out our daily inventory and created this prep list based off of our needs for today. So Pablo, his responsibilities entail opening the kitchen along with our sous. The sous chefs and junior sous typically do a lot of the more labor-intensive work when it comes to breaking down proteins and seafood. In terms of my role, it's really important that I check in with the team. Being that Chef Kwame does a lot of traveling, opening up other restaurants, many other projects happening, I am responsible for ensuring that his vision, his creativity, and his level of quality is always met. And then we take a look at the staffing list, which is also printed on our prep list in terms of who's gonna be here, who we know has the skill to do what, who we want to give a new opportunity for training and development purposes. I just want to make sure we're not overproducing.
Perfect.
We're not running the lamb at the special today. We'll focus on that for tomorrow.
For sure.
All right. At this time, I'm also going to be checking everything in the walk-in. I'm checking that nothing is out of place. I'm seeing like we have a batch of escovitch that we made that needs to be quartered. Our bread needs to start for the day as well. I'm ensuring that things are labeled properly with the dates, making sure there's no condensation inside of any of our containers, which means that something wasn't cooled down properly. So if I'm coming in here with that critical eye, we're more likely to have a wonderful inspection. People are always amazed by how big this walk-in is. It's a flex. For me, I'm like, yeah, it is. And we are set to move on. Right here, I have the pastrami, or the short rib that will be our pastrami. We got to get this broken down for brining. This is going to brine for about 5 days, and then it'll be ready. I use a 10-inch chef's knife, freshly sharpened, to make sure the project doesn't take a long time. The sharper the knife, the better. In a professional kitchen, you want to make sure you use the proper color coding for your cutting board. Red cutting boards are for proteins. That's just so cross-contamination doesn't happen. So the pastrami suya is essentially a riff on traditional New York pastrami. Obviously, we take it and we turn it into something that is purely Tatiana, in that we apply a suya and pastrami spice blend that Chef Kwame has made especially for this recipe. Suya spice is a West African spice blend. Suya traditionally means barbecue. So this piece that I've just weighed out is about 45.15 ounces. I know I'll be able to get at least 2 portions plus a bit of scrap. I think we love the scrap the most in the kitchen because it then goes into family meal. I'm just removing the excess fat. Not too much of it, because that fat is what's going to give us that nice tender texture that we're looking for after the braising process. That Wagyu short rib is definitely highlighting the texture of the meat as well as the flavor. We want to see just like nice marbling. It adds a bit of unctuousness to the bite of meat instead of just being super lean, which is typically what we see when we go after traditional pastrami sandwiches. Oof, that is huge. Jesus Christ. We got the New York Post to write us up just stating that it was the best pastrami in New York City. It is definitely the highlight of our menu, in that the most pastramis I've ever sold in a night is about 70 orders. With all those accolades, it makes not only the reservations the most sought out in the city, but also this particular dish. The brine imparts a lot of flavor. We've tested 3 days, we've tested 7 days, 5 days is our sweet spot for this particular brining process. I've got another 50 pounds in the walk-in that needs to be broken down as well. Because it's a 5-day brining process, if we miss a count for a day, that means the dish doesn't make it to the menu this weekend. So we always want to make sure we have eyes on how many we're gonna sell, how many we've sold the previous days. So as a CDC, the more you go up in the industry, the less you do actual knife work and cooking. For me, it's really important that I keep my hands in the cooking process as well as the butchering process for all products, just to make sure the quality is still being met to Chef Kwame's standards, and also just to remind myself on a daily basis what my passion is. So this is our last short rib. I'm then gonna pass this over to our junior sous chef to get it on brine and get the ball rolling, because I need to move on to the Egusi stew. Egusi stew is a traditional West African stew that typically is comprised of red palm oil, crayfish powder, and ground melon seeds. It's much easier to mix things with a paddle as opposed to trying to get a small spoon in there. The red palm oil gives us a really deep, earthy flavor. It also imparts a really beautiful golden color into the stew as well. When Chef Kwame made it for me the first time, I fell in love with it. It's actually my favorite menu item on our small shares portion. I think it's pretty cool that Chef Kwame came up with the idea of making such a traditional West African dish into something as familiar as a soup dumpling. So luckily for me, I have experience working in large batch cooking. Scaling recipes up isn't as black and white as just increasing the numbers. Some things have to be altered as they scale up, as the flavors and levels do change. Let's say This recipe required a certain amount of peppers, and I know that those peppers are particularly spicy. I may want to scale those down so that it is not overwhelming at such a large batch level. Being that this tilt skillet is so large, the heat elements are in different spots. So mixing it around constantly will just ensure that all of the onions will be cooked evenly. Once it stops burning your eyes, you know you're ready. I'm gonna go ahead and add in our Egusi seed. And these are just ground melon seeds that we're adding right now. We wanna make sure these are toasted off so that that raw melon seed flavor doesn't come through and get that deep flavor that we're looking for. On a busy night, we sell up to 180 individual dumplings. So I am now gonna add the iru, I-R-U, or fermented locust bean. Can you smell that? So typically we like to hand projects off to other cooks from a management perspective to ensure that everyone is trained on everything. You know, people take vacation, have family emergencies, and just sometimes want to learn new things. So it's about 1:30 right now. I need to pivot. So this project is going to be handed over to my junior sous chef. So now I'm going to check in with the rest of the team, make sure everybody's on track for the day, and then we can start setting up the service kitchen upstairs. It's 1 p.m. right now. We're building the cart to take equipment upstairs to the service kitchen from down here in the production kitchen. At this time, we're 4 hours out from service. So typically I'll pick up and get the equipment up to the kitchen to free up the sous chefs and the junior sous so that they can stay focused on the production day. Corner, right behind you. Coming out. Now we're heading to the elevator to take us up to the restaurant. This elevator belongs to Lincoln Center, but they're kind enough to let us use it for our daily setup. Quite a bit of heavy lifting when it comes to like the equipment and the proteins and things like that. So I'd say I'm getting a really good workout in on a daily basis. Mainly due to spacing. When Chef Kwame was looking for a space, he knew that the production for the menu would have to be done in large format. So the space intentionally has a production kitchen to take care of all the heavy lifting that we saw for service. This kitchen comes into play starting at 3:30 when the line cooks arrive, and we are done with service at about 11 p.m. at night. We have it down to the exact number. There is a checklist that we use to build this cart. I think most of us know it by heart by now. I love integrating myself into the setup for service, and it just makes me feel like I'm more in tune with the cooks. Right here, I am setting up garde-manger/dessert station. I have to break down some ice that's in here that built up over the weekend. So right now, I'm just putting everything in place for the hotline, just making sure that pots are where they need to be. Then I'll start compartmentalizing and setting them up one by one, starting with roast and working my way down to entremet and then hot app over here. So our kitchen is closed between Saturday night and Tuesday evening. So when these are left in the well, they freeze in. As we keep these fridges running so that we don't have to retemp them. Chef Kwame has set the kitchen up to be a traditional brigade system with the stations that we have with as many bodies as we have. We have our roast station, garde-manger. We have entremet, which is our sauté station, and hot app. All of our desserts come off of the garde-manger station as well. So we'll see like a lot of the sweet treats coming up on our very last cart. In a night, it has to be upward of about 300 or more plates altogether coming out of this kitchen. Starting at about 4 p.m., we start to see a line develop outside the door, and that is comprised of people that have been waiting upwards of a year to eat with us here at Tatiana, and that makes it all the more critical for us to be ready at 5 on the dot. That pressure is on as soon as the doors open. It's about 3:30 right now. Line cooks are gonna start filing in, so I'm gonna go and catch them at the time clock to ensure that they know what the day is about to look like. The cooks, after they clock in, are gonna be handed their checklist for the station that they've been assigned to today, being that we cross-train all of the cooks for pretty much every station here in the kitchen. So they'll be able to kind of gauge what their needs are based on the list that we hand them. Tastings usually happen on the line at about 4:45. The team will set up with all of their sauces heated all of the proteins par cooked, and then we start to taste the components to ensure that they are top tier quality. Can you bring it over here, please? I just want to give our ground lamb for service a bit of a taste. I would say that this was really well seasoned, and it's definitely got a bit of a kick to it that I'm feeling now. If anything on the line is wrong or I see that it's not up to par with our standards, I will notify the sous chefs so that they can come up and take a look at what product needs to be fixed, and they will fix it down in the production kitchen. This is the last push, and then we're gearing ourselves for pre-shift and service. We're gonna discuss VIPs, party sizes, as well as the lineup for this evening. We will not be running the chicken tonight. I'm hoping that means we see pastrami numbers go up. There's also an 86 on Bodega Special just to start. We will un-86 it as soon as the donuts make it to the line. All right, it's almost 5. We just got done with our pre-shift meeting. The line's building outside. We're about to go into service. During the first seating in the dining room, I'll be here at the pass expediting for the kitchen up until about 8 o'clock tonight. Thank you guys so much for following me around. Hopefully I gave you a little bit of a glimpse of what it's like to be the chef de cuisine here at Tatiana. And if you're lucky enough, you can pin down a reservation and come join us. Hyping myself up internally right now. It's me and then the team, and then we're good to go.